So Tumi had such a great launch last September with Continuum. It's one of my favorite fragrances of the last couple of years, and I like that it's a designer and it's kind of standing out and comparing against some of the more releases from the niche houses. I really love Continuum, but now Tumi has a new fragrance, their fourth fragrance called Atlas. Is it as great as Continuum? Well, first of all, they're different styles, but I'm going to let you know all about Tumi's latest release, Atlas, coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yes, today I'm talking about Tumi's Atlas, the fourth fragrance from Tumi. I first got to sample Tumi's fragrances in 2019. Two fragrances, Awaken and Unwind. They launched in 2020. You know, I thought they were okay fragrances. They were not anything to be wowed by. But as soon as Tumi launched Continuum last year, I was like, damn, they've outdone themselves. And I really, really liked the way Continuum smells. So now Tumi's got the fourth fragrance, Atlas, that's just launched. And, I'm going to tell you about this one. I'm enjoying it, but I don't think it'll live up to how great the Continuum is. Because I like the style of Continuum. I like the way it smells on me. And this one's good. It's decent release. In fact, it's neck and neck with one of the other ones, and I'll let you know what it is. But before I get to the review, if this is your first time tuning into the channel and you still haven't subscribed, please click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so that you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. I don't know who the perfumers of these fragrances are. Unfortunately, I can't tell you. But Atlas is a 2022 launch. It's the fourth Tumi fragrance for men. These are all for men. 100 ml bottle is $110. I would call this a woody, spicy, citrus aromatic fragrance. Comes in Eau De Parfum concentration. Now, this is distributed by a company called The Fragrance Group, and they have a retail store called So Avant-Garde. And I have a discount code there, 20% off. You can save on any purchases there. All the fragrances are $110, and I think it's a great price, especially when you get the discount on these particular fragrances as well. So Atlas features notes of Italian bergamot, grapefruit, blue cardamom, amberwood for top notes. Heart notes features Labdanum, Geranium, ginger. Finally, in the base notes, we've got Vetiver, Indian sandalwood, and moss. Sounds like a straightforward, woody, spicy fragrance with lots of citruses, of course, and aromatics. And that's exactly what you get with this one, because initial blast is all citruses. There's some bitterness there with that grapefruit. I feel like the grapefruit is pretty prominent. There's spice there with that cardamom. You know, it's got this kind of pungent spiciness about it. And then, of course, a little bit of this amberwood experience up top as well. But I'm starting to feel like the fragrance has a little metallic qualities, right about now. But this is while we're in the heart notes where you're experiencing ambery experience with the labdanum, lightly smoky. And this geranium that comes in, I feel like the geranium is very, very prominent here. That does have a little minty qualities here. Geranium has some mintiness and some rosiness. It's kind of a very aromatic herbal note. And then some spice here from that ginger as well, some zinc. So it is a spicy experience, but it's a very fresh experience. Up to this point, there's some light traces of ambers here, not only with the amberwood and the labdanum, light smokiness as well, but very metallic to me. The citruses and the aromatics and spices together act very, very metallic here. Eventually, the fragrance settles to Vetiver. It's wood, it's earthy, a little grassy. You've got a little bit of sandalwood there as well, a little creaminess. Definitely lots of woods here, and then of course a little bit of the moss. So this is the experience I get with this particular fragrance. It's a sharp experience. When you're wearing it, it's sharp, it's metallic. And I feel like it's a fine fragrance on its own. We're not breaking any new ground with this particular fragrance. The brand Tumi's trying to do a collection of fragrances to offer up their clientele, and it's pleasant. So that's my experience with it, but I felt like it needed a little something added to the fragrance. I feel like this is going to be a great layering fragrance as well. You can layer it with something simplistic, but with a little contrast, and I think the fragrance will have a little depth. But on its own, it's very, very simplistic. I would categorize this under the blue fragrances, perhaps Bleu de Chanel, things like that. Even, you know, kind of like a Aventus distantly, all these kind of fragrances, you know, together to create this particular style, because it's very, very fresh. It's very, very, you know, it's very, very woody, and then also very aromatic, spicy. So these are basically the styles I would, you know, categorize this particular fragrance in. Does have a lot of that sharpness, as I said, and I think, yes, it could actually use some kind of depth. It needs a little something else, a little, you know, a little contrast in there to give it a little unique twist. Otherwise, it's a very simplistic wear. I think this is perfect for an everyday wear kind of a fragrance, office safe, things like that, because it's, I think it's a crowd pleaser and things like that. It should garner, you know, fairly positive comments or compliments, is what I should say. But again, as I said, we're not breaking any new ground. So where does this fall into the list of fragrances? Let me tell you. So we're starting off at number 4 because there's 4 Tumi fragrances currently on the market, with Atlas being the latest, with Awaken. So Awaken takes the bottom. I feel like Awaken, when I smelled it, I felt like, okay, there's way too many fragrances out there on the men's designer market of fragrances that smell like this. I did not need another one. So I ranked this one pretty low. But in the end, this is a fresh, spicy, aromatic, woody fragrance with bergamot, coriander, cypress, fir, clary, sage, grapefruit, cedar, olibanum. It smells like a lot of designer fragrances. I don't need another fragrance like this, but if this is the first time you smell something like this and you appreciate it, then I think it would do fine for you to wear this. But I've smelled way too many fragrances like this. I don't need another one like this. But in the end, you're experiencing lots of freshness, lots of spiciness, and aromatics, meaning herbs, spices, and of course there's citruses here as well, and woods. I would say there's some light smoke trace running throughout it, but it's not very, very big. For me, it's mostly about the citrus with the spices and the woods. That's pretty much what it is. And again, there's a lot of fragrances out there that smells like this. So this one I would rank at the very, very bottom. Now moving on, I had a little bit of a challenge putting the next one, which is Unwind, in contrast to the new one, Atlas. So I put Unwind next. Unwind came out in 2020 just like Awaken did. So they launched with 2, Awaken and Unwind. Awaken you would wear in the morning, during the day. Unwind you would unwind with at night. It's a nighttime fragrance. And once again, it's another woody, spicy, citrus aromatic fragrance. Nothing else. So it was a little boring to me because it doesn't do a lot for me. But definitely a little better than Awaken. So I felt like this was a little better than Awaken, but once again, it's not breaking any new ground. It's not a very exciting fragrance for me. It's similar kind of notes, the woods, the spices, the citruses, and the aromatics, all rolled into one to create a fragrance. But this one features oud, ginger, sandalwood, vetiver, lemons, sage, lavender, geranium. Similar notes to Atlas as well. So Atlas and Unwind, they're not identical. Kind of similar ideas going in different directions is basically what they are when you compare them side by side. But Unwind does get peppery for me in the dry down. I don't know where the pepperiness is coming from. I think it might be the oud, because oud has some spice to it, some depth to it. And so it adds a little bit of a uniqueness, but for me, once again, it's a kind of a boring fragrance. It doesn't do much for me, so I left it at number 3. So Unwind is at number 3 out of the 4 Tumi fragrances. So then that's why Atlas ends up at number 2. I think these 3 fragrances are way below the superiority of Continuum. Continuum to me is such a great release. I featured it as one of my favorites of 2021 and one of my favorites of the last couple of years. It's a great smelling designer fragrance. But Atlas, as I said, it's a woody, spicy, citrus aromatic fragrance with vetiver, geranium, ginger, grapefruit, cardamom, sandalwood, labdanum, moss, bergamot. I've smelled a ton of fragrances like this. So there's a lot of fragrances like this on the market, but this one does go fresh. It's a lot more citrusier. It's a lot more zingier. So there's a lot of zing there with the grapefruit. The ginger adds a lot of zing and spice to the fragrance, whereas, you know, you've got that kind of citrusy zing and spice from the grapefruit note, and then that ginger has more of a bite to it, more of a kick with its spiciness and zing. But it does go metallic. I think that geranium with the citruses creates a metallic sharpness about the fragrance. So I feel like I categorize it under those kind of very, very popular men's blue fragrances. It's got a frostiness about it. So Atlas is the number 2 fragrance. And again, I would have, you know, perhaps moved it around and made Atlas number 3 and Unwind at number 2, but I decided to go with Atlas at number 2. But number 1, Continuum, is so good. Far ahead of all the other 3 fragrances. At least here we've got a great, unique smelling designer fragrance. It's an amber woody fragrance. It's musky. It's powdery with Orris, amber, oud, tobacco, musk, olibanum, suede, cistus, incanus, mandarin. It's absolutely delicious. It's a great designer fragrance. It's also great priced great. It's an Eau De Parfum concentration, and you know, it wears ambery, it wears woody, definitely musky. I feel like it has a booziness in there, and also a little bit of a fizzy Coca-Cola-esque vibe there as well. There's something sparkling and effervescent about this particular combination of notes that I absolutely love. So not only am I getting the tobacco, the irisy, you know, the powderiness, there's that oud, there's the woods, but there's this, you know, booziness in here. Something in here creates a booziness and also soda-like quality. And I absolutely really love wearing this one. Yes, this one's definitely a lot warmer. It's definitely more of a winter wear, but you know, there's no real rules. If you like the way something smells and you're fine wearing it when it's warm outside, wear it, because I think this one deserves the number 1 spot totally. It smells really great, and I highly recommend Continuum as a great smelling fragrance from this brand. Whereas the rest of them I don't need to own or have, Continuum definitely deserves to be in my collection because it is really great. I actually looked on the So Avant-Garde website. Remember I said there's a 20% off discount code there? There wasn't a full bottle available, but there was a kit, a 100 ml bottle with a 1 ounce smaller bottle for $120, which was $10 more than the 100 ml price. I feel like that's a great kit to have of this particular fragrance. The little one you can carry around with you, take it to the office, put it in your, you know, travel bag and things like that, and the 100 ml you can keep with you. But I really do recommend this particular fragrance. I mean, it's a matter of taste. This is my kind of a fragrance. This one, you know, I've got plenty of these fragrances. I don't need another one. But if you discover one of these other fragrances and you like the smell, I'm not putting you down for wearing it. But for me, I feel like they'd be redundant in my collection. Whereas this one can also be redundant, but still, it's a unique enough smell for me to have in my collection. So that's why Tumi Continuum is at number 1. Have you tried Continuum? I really do recommend it. Also, one thing I should say, this has enough warmth and ambery touches. I could see a woman wearing this one. It doesn't necessarily scream uber masculine. I would say it's leaning masculine, but it's close to the unisex, like right in the middle for a woman to be able to pull off something like this because of its warmth and spiciness and ambery, musky qualities. Anyway, Continuum is at number 1. Anyway guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. Are you familiar with the Tumi fragrances? They haven't been around too long with the fragrance, you know, part of their brand, although the brand's been around forever. I've owned many Tumi bags and things like that. And now I have these fragrances. Let's see what they come out with in the future. But I'm hoping they go in the direction like this. This is really a great fragrance. I don't need any other fragrances like that. But anyway, you might like them, and you know, definitely check out every single one of them, see if you can get samples, test them out and things like that, and then definitely take advantage of my discount code over at So Avant-Garde. I've got the discount code in the info box below with a link to So Avant-Garde. Anyway guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. Please like this video, please share it, follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.